Steve, Wan'Dale Robinson, one of the best players, honestly, most consistent players on the Giants this past year, a free agent. Who would be interested in Wan'Dale Robinson, and is he a player teams should be going after?
I think he is a player that teams should be going after. He's ranked the 5th wide receiver. He's projected as a starting wide receiver in the slot who becomes increasingly more effective. The more you move him around in the formation, the better he gets over and over again. He goes in and out of traffic willingly. He does some things that you don't expect him to do for a smaller stature guy, but he goes up and catches the football, very physical. He will finish in ways that you don't really anticipate. Man, from Kentucky, he has just been ascending ever since he was drafted, and I just love his mental makeup. I love his physical makeup, and I love the way he's able to run routes. He has a vastly good route tree. He can run the China route or pivot. He can run the go. He can run a post. He can run the corner. He does everything that you want, what you want in a number 2 wide receiver. But he has that big play explosive ability like a number 1 wide receiver.
Obviously out of the slot, 55.7% of the snaps with the Giants last year out of the slot. I got to mention this. He had 185 catches over the last 2 years. And how many quarterbacks did he play with?
He played. It's not how many quarterbacks, what type of quarterbacks. He played with some cool quarterbacks, some good quarterbacks, and then some not very good quarterbacks.
Yeah, some fun guys off the field,
Yep.
some other guys, and listen. So I mean, he is a guy that the Giants want to bring back. I'm told.
Yeah.
But when you hear that from the brass, you have to read into it deeper. Did they ever have a contract extension with him talks during the season?
Possibly. They all look. The agent will call. And they will answer the phone, and they will talk about it, surfacely on the surface. But you also got to look at, that's a tough call to have and to operate through,
especially with the transition that they were
general manager, because now you got a head coach who's gotten fired. You got your quarterback situation that hasn't gone well. There's so many things going on that having a contract extension, it's almost like not knowing how to read the room.
Yes.
But you don't have to know how to read the room. My contract's up, bro.
Yeah. I don't care what you guys are doing. I want a contract. And so I love that you laid it out like that, because that's something that everybody always reads. Well, they didn't talk to him about an extension when they had him. So what do you mean they still want him? There's also a thing of, we loved him at this price. We loved him at this value. That value might be too high. And I think it's going to be with everything that you said. I think this is going to be a deal that might be somewhere in the vicinity of like 3 years, 45 to 49 million in that area.
So if you say
that's too rich for what the Giants would do to bring him back.
As a starting wide receiver in the slot, he just makes everything much more difficult for the defense, but he opens up the playbook for the quarterback and the offense and offensive coordinator in ways that makes you really, really excited, and it makes you overpay because you need a guy like him. You want a guy like him, and your offense needs him because he checks every box. His eye and hand coordination, ball skills, big playability, play speed. He checks every freaking box. So he significantly adds to your offensive unit instantly.
I love that, because he does have the short area work out of the slot, but he can be a vertical threat out of the slot at the same time. Like, a lot of guys don't check both those boxes. They're usually better at one than the other, but he's pretty decent at both. He draws a lot of penalties. Like, he's really good at just top of his route, finding a way to put a DB in a bad spot. Like, I love that when we started this, Steve, you were like, I started watching all of his film, and you were like, I really like Wan'Dale Robinson. And you know what? When you talk to teams around the league, I think they really like him too. And I think that's why the Giants are like, obviously we'd love to have him back, but we have other things we got to try to do on the defensive side of the ball, some other things that we got to do up front. Like, I don't know if we can. Maybe that's why the Giants are looking in the draft as well at these receivers for sure, because Wan'Dale Robinson has a market for sure.
Yeah, he does.
Is there anything else that jumps out at you about him? Okay.
Man, he excels at finding spots in the defense. He's always sneaking behind the defense somehow, some way, behind the defenders, as well as anyone in this class. We talking about in this class, you got Rashid Shaheed. You have Mike Evans. You have Alec Pierce, but you don't have a guy who is sneaking behind the defense and just getting out, just leveraging and getting behind the blind spot of the defender, man. And he gets north really fast. When he gets the ball in his hands, it's no dancing. He's not trying to juke everybody, man. He gets north, and I think ideally he fits in a timed-based offense.
Yes.
Right? That's on timing, where it allows you to run that lookie, run that pivot route, and all of a sudden, put his foot in the ground and get north. So Commanders, New Orleans, Minnesota, but man, I tell you, this is a place where Tennessee, San Francisco, those two places where he can really excel and help the offense because they're in need, but he's not a guy that's gonna command a lot of coverage. And that's one of the things that he does so well. He doesn't command a lot of coverage, but you find out the hard way that you probably need to put somebody on him because he can get behind the defense and make you pay very quickly.
Great point. Okay, I just thought of this. I think he's like the third best receiver in free agency. If you go like Mike Evans and Alec Pierce are maybe ahead of him. I don't know who else is ahead of him after those two. If I have him third, in terms of, and this is just a rough, among the wide receivers, maybe the third best free agent. How far away from Alec Pierce, if I have Alec Pierce too, is he? They're both about the same age. I mean, Alec Pierce is a big body guy that goes downfield for sure. So their builds are definitely different. But it's not like his production is nothing. I mean,
what you fall into is sometimes is what are the team needs?
For sure.
And a lot of teams need a vertical threat outside. That type of receiver is always overvalued versus a guy who could play in the slot, who can keep you going on third down. Now, when he's playing, he's valuable. But when it's, when you comparing apples to apples, man, the vertical guy is always going to get the nod. That's just how it goes.
Yeah, okay. Because we are looking at Alec Pierce near the top here, and we're not going to turn this into an Alec Pierce episode, but I'm just looking at the guy has never had more than 47 catches in a season.
Yeah, that ain't his fault though.
Okay.
Yeah, some of the offense, some of the things that are going on. I mean, that's one of the reasons why the coaching staff is really on the twinge of hot seat, because they've had some good players. They haven't made some good choices at quarterback play until Daniel Jones, and so now all of a sudden they got to make a decision, and they're kind of in a quandary with Alec Pierce being a free agent, and then Michael Pittman Jr. with his ability to, if they can re-sign Alec Pierce, but they have to get their quarterback situation solidified. So there's a lot of moving parts that I just don't think Alec Pierce would or should stay around to go back to the team that helped draft him when there's still some question marks at the quarterback position, and the teams that are getting you, they ain't gonna have any quarterback issues.
That's a good point.
They know. They're getting Alec Pierce to help their quarterback that they have on the roster.
Yep. Yeah. So, we're going to see what happens with Alec Pierce, but we're not going to make this an Alec Pierce episode. But, the Colts are transition tagging Daniel Jones. So he's not going to be tagged. He is going to be able to test all of free agency. Yeah. So we're going to see what happens. I do think, my last thought on Wan'Dale Robinson is this. These are the type of moves that usually sometimes push teams over the hump. It's the one where it's like, it's not the number one receiver in free agent. It's not the number one guy at the position. When teams make those smart moves, I think New England did that really well this past year with some of the free agent moves that they made. I'm excited to see where he lands, because I think he makes an entire offense better and makes life easier on a quarterback. What if sports were traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not you against the house, it's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood prediction markets changes the game. It's people moving the action, so when momentum shifts, you can move with it. I always knew the game, but never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now I can actually take part live in a market powered by people. You're no longer just a spectator. Play by play, you decide. Trade every play with Robinhood. Now available across the US, download the Robinhood app now to begin. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm.
Number of teams here: Tennessee, New York Giants. Obviously he's on the current Giants until free agency starts. I can see the San Francisco 49ers really utilize them. Not sure the Las Vegas Raiders. New York Giants is on here. I don't think that's hell no. Cleveland wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole or with your hands. The Washington Commanders, New Orleans Saints, the Miami Dolphins. I don't think the Miami Dolphins can currently right now afford him. I'd be interested to see the Los Angeles Rams, the Baltimore Ravens, Minnesota. The three teams that Washington Commanders, Minnesota Vikings, and Atlanta Falcons. I'm really intrigued by those teams because they already have established number one wide receivers. So I can see him pairing with a Drake London and all of a sudden becoming very problematic. And why? Think about who is running the show right there in Atlanta. Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan knows exactly what he wants at the quarterback position when he's looking at building his roster of wide receivers. Mm-hmm. And then you add Kevin Stefanski to the mix, who understands, and I believe one of the few guys, the best minds in football, of understanding how to get the best out of your quarterback, but also how you get the best out of your wide receivers as well.
I love that. And I love that a lot of spots that you mentioned, Steve, kind of fit the way he plays, right?
Yes.
Like it really does with the precision that he plays with. You mentioned some of the routes that he runs.
First of all, they got to get the quarterback situation fixed. But I would say if Minnesota loses Neller, he fits in, and I think it actually, for whatever, don't take this the wrong way, I think it upgrades this offense because now Naylor is a deep threat guy. He got some speed, but man, you put Wan'Dale Robinson in the slot, and all of a sudden things get a lot interesting. You have to really figure it out because now you got, with Naylor they had three solids. Mm-hmm. But with Wan'Dale Robinson, it's not solid. You go, man, you got three exceptional good route runners.
100%. And you had a guy, and I'd love for you to tell everybody this, how KOC draws plays up.
Ooh,
for you to be able to do things with the ball in your hands after you get it. That's the way that stuff's designed. It's supposed to be, I'm coming across and I'm going to do something with it after. Dude had 386 yards after the catch last year. Like, I can see him in that offense. I mean, he's got to get somebody who delivers the ball to him accurately.
Yeah, in itself, that's a problem. But here's what it does. It does help your quarterback who's already struggling to see things. You give him an outlet to speed up things. Now, how much does it speed and how much does it help him? That's just based on J.J. McCarthy's. But, right, the Washington Commanders, with them allowing Deebo Samuel to walk, right, letting him go, he fits in really well. When you talk about De'Ami Brown, how he was able to get his money in Jacksonville. Unfortunately, he won't be getting the rest of his money in Jacksonville because they are not going to allow him to stay there. He just puts himself in a position, right, as a starting wide receiver in the slot. He just makes everything much more difficult.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting.